Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 209.
Peter, Pan and Wendy.
This week on Cup of Rad. Hey everybody, we're back. We're back with an episode that wasn't the episode that we told you we were going to be back for.
Oh yeah!
It was supposed to be Guardians, but Guardians is coming next week.
Yeah, we have a little interlude of
something.
Of specialness.
So, on Disney Plus, Peter, Pan and Wendy arrived as a Disney original.
Yeah, it's taken quite some time for this to come out. So, that being said, I was a little concerned how long it had taken to come out. Like if there was reasons for it. Happy to say that wasn't the case.
It's directed by David Lowery, the guy that did The Green Knight, Pete's Dragon, A Ghost Story. So he gets another tackle of the Disney live action remakes feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you seem
a little spacey.
Lost, yeah.
A little spacey. It's been a long weekend, okay?
A long week, yeah.
It's been like a long...
It's only Monday and...
Yeah.
It's been a long week, man. A long week.
It's been, yeah.
Well, we have been also entrenched in preparing for our Guardians, so it's a little bit of everything going on. So I get it.
House is a little chaotic because we've been watching the movies.
The tornado.
Anything with Guardians in it, we've been watching.
Yeah.
And then I was busy all weekend.
So Saturday, Mike got to go on an adventure. Do we want to tell them about your adventure?
We could. Do we talk about all the hobos? That's part of the adventure
right there.
The adventure?
Well, so the adventure that Mike may or may not tell you about left it so that he had an opportunity to watch Peter, Pan and Wendy outside of the house. So me and Kiddo decided with the hose. Me and Kiddo watched Peter, Pan and Wendy at home on streaming the way it was meant to be, and then. I'm just joking.
Wow.
So we watched that separately. And then, Mike, why don't you share the magic adventure that you got to go on? So,
our buddy Jesse Prime, Jesse, he had worked on that film as an EA. So he got a cast and crew screening on the big screen. So he asked if I would go with him. So on Saturday, I headed on down to
bright and early Vancouver visit.
Yeah. So we got to take in all the sights and sounds that Vancouver brings before the screening, which was
interesting.
A lot of urine.
Oh,
a lot of urine smells.
Wow. Yeah. The city smells like it in the best of times when there's no other people smells to like mask that.
Yeah. But on a positive, we did get donuts.
I was going to say that was what you're leading for.
I was leaving it.
He really,
it scarred me actually. It had been so long since I had been in the city. And since we've been down there, that and
walked around
more, and it was hot. We had like a heat wave hit, so it was weather that would be closer to July weather.
Yeah,
for 2 days. So I don't think that helped.
Because he's telling me about it. He's like telling me about the cool things that I did see, and then he starts telling me about this, and it's like, dude, you're not selling us anymore. This is become.
Well, so like we got down there too early, right?
Yeah.
We got down there too early because traffic was a breeze. And there was one moment where I was like, oh, crap, I'm glad we left because it right. So then we were going to go get donuts and would have been fine if it had been during the week. But the donut place opens a whole hour later on the weekend. But we lucked out. We found a Starbucks, a really nice, fancy Starbucks, and it was a great coffee.
By the way, I would
Starbucks
like that.
Reserve.
I want a Reserve latte.
It was really good. Like, it was spectacular. And we got
over the urine smell.
We really dope ass seats, where we just kind of felt like we were like super villains plotting over our next world domination.
I really don't understand why.
Just because the way they were just like really slouchy back, and we're
just like, this is where evil happens.
Yes.
Over a good cup of coffee.
Over a good cup. There's plotting to be done.
Okay.
Yeah. It's contemplation. The only thing though with the latte, it was like, I know this is a weird conversation, but it was really hot. like really hot, like nuclear hot, like the hottest latte I've ever had.
So when we go there, if you ever take me, we have to order a regular temperature, like order the 160 or 170 or something.
I don't know if it was like, I don't know. It's just, it took a bit to get into it, but they had these really cool black cups with all black cups.
I know, I saw it on your Instagram and I was like, oh, what the hell is this? He's got fancy coffee. So
that was fun. And then we got donuts. And that was even funner.
Yeah.
That was more fun.
I don't know. I like even funner. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. But yeah, there was a lot of like big city.
So you sent a picture of a Kirby sign that they had. So was that from Carton? Was it a juice that they had? Or
oh yeah. It was just like someone on staff must have drew a Kirby and just was like, yeah, come have. On the other side, on the other side, it was Garfield. So
okay, that's cool. I was like, obviously, even if it was a Kirby, I don't know if you even donate, then don't know if you had it, but I wasn't sure like what they were doing, or it was just random cartoon character art. And, nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
Pretty much. A spot of color on otherwise dreary streets.
Yeah.
No, I just got an apple fritter because the fritters are dope. So it was just, had to.
Oh, I know.
So, and then I after the movie, me and Jesse went and found the vegan restaurant that we like, and we ate too much food.
Why are you telling me this again? This is just sad.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's amazing. That was happy. That was the happy moment.
He looks so happy.
That was the happy moment.
He's just like, yeah, I did that.
Well, I mean, you're like trying to get over all the other things. You were like, don't tell those stories. Don't tell the hobo stories. I'm like, talk about the food.
I was trying to talk about Peter Pan and Wendy, and you were talking about the food.
Oh, okay. Well, there was no food in Peter Pan and Wendy, so.
Oh, okay. So he was out gallivanting in the urine-soaked streets eating delicious food.
Okay, I ate delicious food in a restaurant, not on the urine streets.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. And then, me and Kiddo hung out and watched it from here so that we could still do our podcast, even though we watched them separately.
Yeah. So, exciting. What are your thoughts on Peter Pan and Wendy?
I was very pleasantly surprised. The live action movies have been, unfortunately, mostly a disappointment because they've been so many shot for shot. And I didn't really know what to expect from this. I knew that there was going to be differences only because they played a lot with the character designs and the casting. And I was really hoping that it would have a different feel. The trailers didn't really show like I was watching the animated film. So again, I was hoping, I didn't know if they would just kind of lead me astray. But I was very, very happy with it. I think I really felt the allegory a lot stronger than I ever would have, and than I ever did with the animated. Mm-hmm. And it really hit a lot more emotions. And I mean, both me and Kiddo teared up at the end, and a lot. I enjoyed the deeper story, and I was really blown away. Like really, really happy with it.
Nice. Like you had said, the whole fact of the Disney live action stuff has been really hit and miss for me. And I really do feel that there was a lot of them with the shot for shot remakes that they just feel pointless.
Yeah.
Whereas this here falls into the handful of ones that I have enjoyed. I've enjoyed Cinderella, Jungle Book. I love Cinderella. Right? And this one falls into that because those ones they've all felt different enough. Like even Pete's Dragon feels different enough.
Yeah.
Now this here isn't a bright, shiny, like colorful Peter Pan. This is more of a bleak, almost falling more into the realm of a realistic Peter Pan.
Well, that's why I felt like so much more emotions behind it, because you realize, like, if you look at the animated, Peter Pan himself is just the silly, bright and peppy sprite, like a big fairy idea, right? And in this, you really get the extreme, as I say, the allegory of a child, tantrum-esque. And I think a lot of this also comes from being a parent as well. You see that and you're like, the attitude that he had, and the I'm always right, and this is just the way it's supposed to be, and it'll just keep going forever, and I don't want to ever let go. And it's a very extreme version. It's not the bubbly and happy. It's the stuck and the ego and all that sort of stuff. And then you have the very beaten down. And I'm like, as soon as we were watching, I was like, Captain Hook had to have been someone who grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why he hates them. And they're the extreme opposites of each other. And that's why they are constantly battling. And it is that idea of what life is. You're constantly battling between the extreme of, I just want to be a little kid and I don't want to have responsibilities and I want everything to be the same. And I want, everything is just going to work out for me and I don't have to really try. It happens, versus the bitter, angry, always just frustrated, storming around all the time. And so neither one of them are good. Yeah. Peter Pan is not necessarily evil looking because he's not causing harm to people. Yeah. But he's not a good guy either. Yeah. They're just principles of it. And I mean, that's the whole point. Neverland is the concept of...
The character that is supposed to learn from this is Wendy. Yeah. It's not Peter Pan or Hook aren't supposed to learn anything.
Yeah, they're just...
Wendy. They're conduits
for her learning to how to grow up and balance between the two of them, right? Yeah. She's there and she sees... Well, I don't want to be like Peter, but I like some of this portion. And I don't want to be like Hook, but I like some of this portion. And, it's that grace of finding that in between. Yeah. And, and it's just, I think that gets lost so much.
I think it gets lost in almost any telling of it. Right?
So I was just very, very impressed with that realism, but also, they both played such a good job in their respective roles. Right?
Yeah, no, the acting, it was pretty superb, especially from the child actor that played Pan.
Oh yeah.
All the child actors actually did a really, really good job in the film, which was nice because there was never anyone that was annoying or frustrating.
No.
And even then along the lines like the pirates and stuff. And Jude Law also played a very interesting version of Hook that was different than a lot of the other versions that we've seen on screen. Not to the point of almost being sympathetic, but you could see where he was sad, depressed. And I'm not usually one that likes to turn villains into heroes or make you feel sorry for them. But this one, you felt sorry enough, but he still followed through with his principle. He never changed. It was still the idea where, well, I'm still going to fight you, Peter, no matter what. And no matter what happened in the movie, it was still that to the end.
You just gave more reason as to why he was sad and angry.
Yeah.
But he never stopped being angry. You could tell a few times he kind of wanted to feel it. But then I love how he said, no, it's too late. Yeah. It is what it is. And it's that trauma. The damage has been done. And
then he's not willing to. And that's what's cool to see. He's not willing to change, or he's not willing to step forward.
And that's the whole point of that in between is you have this angry, bitter, never wanting to change. When children are so much more malleable, they can change their perspectives. If you move from young to old, that's your growth. Yeah. But both of them were stuck in their ways. Yeah. The extreme opposites. And he stayed the same way no matter what. Yeah.
That's like really topical for like the world in general.
I know, right?
It's kind of deep.
And that's why I was and the more I talk about it, like I love a good allegory.
Right?
I always have, and they just did such a good job.
They did a really good job, and I don't think this one's going to get the credit it deserves, because I think a lot of people are stuck on like other versions that came out, especially like I've seen a lot of people talk about like, oh, well, you can't do Hook. Well, Hook's a sequel.
Hook is not, you can't ever.
But I'm saying like Hook's a sequel. It's not the same story, right?
Hook is also too. It's not the same story, but it is also very realism based still for things, and there's still a lot of
nostalgia for it because of when it came out, and for the people that are saying these things, because
you're right, it's good, it's in the
right when nostalgia hits, it blindsides you, right? And so I think that's the thing, is like at the end, we've talked before, like every story has been told, is just how we tell it, and this is a new repackaging with a different lens, a different look at the story.
Well, I think this is one of the stories that has been told. And if a story like this is told over and over again, it's because it has a good core principle behind it.
There's something to be said. And the hope that by watching it or reading it or however you're going to consume it, you will then take something away from it and hopefully learn from the message that they're trying to portray.
Yeah, maybe the people who are whining and bitching so much about it also need to learn the flexibility of changing and growing up and dealing with the fact that, guess what? Life changes.
Right.
And you morph and you move around. And I liked how Wendy couldn't see the pirates at first.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. That reminded me of Hook because of the food aspect with not being able to see and use their imagination. I thought that was to me, it felt like a little homage to it.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously it was Hook being an homage to the original story, but that was the first time I really, because that was never in the animated, right? So I also really love that Tinkerbell was a enjoyable character. She wasn't a brat. And I really enjoyed that.
No sassitude.
For
the sake of it.
Yeah. She was the little magic. She was the magic sprite thing. You know, that was the bright, shiny aspect. It was like almost that real, actual innocence of childhood and that magic spark idea.
Well, because that's the pixie dust, right? Like that's what gave them their being, their soul.
I talk and then I realize, oh wait a second, that's where it is. So
what was cool too is there was like little hints here and there about the animated, especially with music beats and like just like, you know, really just the music beats. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of other animated nods other than the music. I
really my favorite part that I was a nod to the animated that I really enjoyed was the crocodile scene. Yeah. And because I always loved the animated scene with Hook, because I always thought it was ridiculous with him standing on the jaws of the crocodile all splayed open and screaming and yelling. And that just always made me laugh. Yeah. And they redid that. And Jude Law did such a great job with the scream. Yeah. And that made me stupid happy. Yeah. Because like little things like that, like it fit in. It didn't feel like it was pushed in there, shoehorned. It fit with the scene, okay. Yeah. And but we decided that was like a real dinosaur type crocodile. Like reminded me of like Jurassic World version, like Mosasaurus or whatever it is. Like thing was freaking huge.
Well, yeah. But that was terrifying. Yeah. Like I guess it's the idea then too, it's showing a bit of the fact that the world was created by, you know, childhood innocence and, you know, that kind of feel. You know, one thing I thought of when watching this, and it was like one of those weird thought process of like, I never really thought about it until now. And I don't know if it's just, maybe I have, but it's just been one of those things just been compounding. But the idea of the story of Peter Pan for when it came out was actually fairly meta.
Very.
In the fact that it was like telling a story about a story that's been told, but then like using that story as a catalyst for like them knowing all these things about the world, but the stories they heard, but then they're living the story.
A little lost even in your story, so it shows how meta it really is. Like, well, yeah,
because like everything they tell, they know because they've heard the story. So what's this real story of Peter Pan that say Wendy and her family heard? Well, because we don't hear that story.
It just he'd become a story. Yeah. So like it was like he was trying to find an ending to a story, and he's written this new chapter. So how many times does this type of thing
every happen? Time he finds a lost boy?
Yeah, think about that, right? So when did the Lost Boys know this story, or did no one ever tell the story, or was it connected to that place in time in the city? Like, oh no, I agree, because when especially near the end of it, I was like, this is actually really intense to think about. You know, him talking about becoming a legend, basically, and but then it's actually happening, and then it's gonna keep happening, and then it goes on to the Hook idea, right? So then it just keeps snowballing. So
there's a lot of things in there that are just like,
I was curious to see mermaid wise, because
they were like octopuses.
I always liked the mermaids look of them in the animated, but they were bitches. They were terrible. And they looked kind of, I mean, the brief moment that you saw them, they looked scary. They were
they're like octopuses. They're squids.
They look more like squids rather than actual stereotypical classic mermaids.
That was terrifying to see. Like,
I was like, okay, maybe.
But at the same time, I was like, I want to see more of that. Like, right. So where's the?
I don't think Peter's gonna be flirting with them.
No. But see, like in that, then too, though, that seems so out of place for the character almost when you look back at, like, in this version at least.
Well, because
he's so much younger.
I was going to say he shouldn't be flirting because then he would have hit puberty, and then that's the idea of growing up. And you gotta think, in reality, he shouldn't be anywhere. He shouldn't be any more than like 10. Yeah. You know, that's still the whining, the really pushing the I don't want to grow up idea, right? Because you're going to get, okay, maybe 11, but any time past that, you're going to start getting them torn between those two. But yeah, I really, really, really did enjoy it. I'm excited. I will definitely be willing to watch it again.
Yeah.
And just
I am sad
watch that the theory of it as it unfolds more, right?
I am sad that the fact that, it didn't get a theatrical release, because I feel that this is one of the ones that probably should have had a theatrical release.
I agree.
And I know Jesse talked about the fact, because it was a COVID movie and it was already decided it was going to be a direct to video kind of thing. That's why, and we didn't want to go back and renegotiate things or something like that. Okay. So, because it would have changed how it all went. So,
but I think it was worth it.
I think it was worth it. I think
if I had paid for it, I would have been happy with it.
I think it would have been totally fine. The shot for shot stuff should be the one that goes direct. But this then is a win then for, I think, for streaming, and I hope that they're able to see that and see that there's quality in it that can be made. And I like the idea of taking the story and making it different, because then it gives you something else to look at and come out the other side with different ideas and theorems, and like you're thinking about it, versus it just being like a clap your hands, la da da, I remember when, this is so good, wait a minute, I just watched the same movie. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add too, I really enjoyed their mom, that she was an actual character, opposed to the parents being terrible in the animated. I mean, the dad was this asshole and the mom was just the quiet woman in the corner.
Well, usually when
she was nice to Michael and everything like that, she was still very young, but
usually whenever anything's done with Peter Pan, Mr. Darling is always plays usually Hook.
Yeah.
Whoever plays,
because that's Mr. the whole
Darling plays Hook.
Which it makes sense. It's that story behind it, right? Because it's always, which is so funny at the same time, because he's still the villain in the real world for them, right? He's the one telling them to grow up. He's the one that's angry about life sounding, right? And so I get that.
So at the end, it really is just the idea where she fell asleep and had a dream and woke up.
Oh yeah, totally. But I liked that.
Had some opium tea before bed. Sorry, go ahead.
I like that they had characters about them. I like that the mom was trying to help her, not just telling her like, you're too old for this and just deal with it.
Yeah.
She was actually trying to convince her that, think about the things you'd miss out on, think about what the world would miss out on with you not being there. And I really liked that she was providing real kind of guidance rather than just like almost, for lack of better words, bullying her into just sucking up and dealing with it. Yeah. So I like that.
Nice.
Totally off topic for the Peter Pan, but just the more we talk about the shot for shot, you know what I'm worried about and kind of having a hard time of actually saying I want to go to theaters for?
Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm. And it really hurts me to say that, because I mean it's not for me feeling like it's going to ruin my childhood. Because Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah.
I want something different, because Little Mermaid's my favorite Disney movie and it's going to stay that way. I want to see a different version of it. I want to see something different.
Well, like we've never gone back and watched Lion King. I've never watched Beauty and the Beast again.
Because if I want to watch those movies, I'll watch
even Aladdin. Right?
I'll watch the animated, right? Yeah. I know Aladdin at least had something different, but it wasn't enough to make a difference. And the more I'm seeing so much of the trailers, it's almost like I'm trying to ignore them, because, they might look different. And I'm wondering, okay, Peter Pan, they looked different the way they presented it, but every single thing I've seen for the scenes, they're literally, I know the movie already.
Yeah.
And yes, it's great that they're not, maybe there is big differences that they're not telling us about. Awesome. But I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, they've been shot for shot. So why wouldn't they be? And I know Little Mermaid is such a big movie.
All the ones that have been successful for them have been the shot for shots.
Yeah.
The ones that have brought the money in
are
the shot for shots.
And it shows them that people don't want that change at all. And I'm disappointed. I kind of don't want to support that again.
That's fair. Well, it's weird. What I think it's still the 45-day window or 50-day window for Plus.
Like I think about it, I'm more excited about the Barbie movie than I am Little Mermaid. And I by a long shot.
Yeah.
And I would like to watch it, but I really don't know if I want to spend the money in the theater and support it.
That's fair. If it showed up on Plus, we'd probably watch it right that weekend.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I think this movie kind of sealed that a little bit more just because I realized how much I enjoyed that it was different.
Yeah.
And I still felt the same joy of the concept of the story. I feel like I've gotten so much more out of it. And it feels to me like...
Because someone with
that was that progression, right? Yeah. It's it's a different. It allowed for a grown-up version. It was still very pretty. It was still, it was still magical feeling, and it was different looking. But why is it just enough for it to be different looking? Why can't it also have that principal story? Because The Little Mermaid has a really good core principle story of the idea of not wanting to be where you were for growing up and looking that grass is greener on the other side. And it's still a really positive ending for the fact that shit could have gone real sideways and permanently. And yet she still managed to come out of that. And, there's a good story behind there. And I don't know. It makes me sad, but anyways,
that's totally fair. That's totally fair.
Other side.
When you see something there where someone was able to take another swipe on it, another lens on it, and come out with something that had a lot of meaning in it, and I get it. Yeah. I get it. So
that's our take on Peter Pan and Wendy.
It was totally worth it. Watch it on Disney Plus because it's the only way you can watch it.
Yep.
So, but we got something coming up after the break. We have something really cool and really special to talk about for Peter and Wendy. We have a special guest who's never been on this podcast before, straight from Hollywood. Well, straight from, yeah.
Hello, it's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Very tiny, man. Very meek. We have Jesse, Jessimus Prime, Mr. Hollywood, back in the studio.
Oh, now you've ruined the illusion.
So I know, right? I had to, just like your Scottish tale, I had to ruin it for you. But yeah, so a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we had mentioned that you worked on a movie.
I did get to work on a movie.
What was that movie?
That movie was Disney's live-action Peter Pan and Wendy, now streaming on Disney Plus.
That's right. This is not a paid ad, actually.
This is not a paid ad. Really I did not get paid to say that. I don't
get paid for you to say that either. So, but something really cool happened today. After years of waiting to see, what did you get to actually go down?
Well, as I'm sure all your viewers recall, I was working on this I started back in March of 2021, and I was working all the way through to the end of July of that month. And when I left the project, I had no idea when it would be coming out, when we would even see a trailer or anything. So, but my assumption was, hey, maybe this fall, this Christmas, maybe we'll get our first trailer or something like that. Fast forward to February of 2023 when I think we actually got our first trailer. But it was very exciting. I knew from sources ahead of time that it was definitely going to be coming out and that there was going to be press in January of this year for it. But oh man, that trailer dropped and it was pretty exciting. So I was very excited this week to watch it on Disney Plus on Friday when it released. But then out of nowhere, I received an invitation to a cast and crew screening in downtown Vancouver for this Saturday. So
the only way you could see it on the big screen.
The only way to see it on the big screen. So I was very excited because I was a little bit jealous that everyone, I saw they did premieres in New York and London and LA and everyone got to see it on the big screen. So I was a little bit jealous of that. But it was very exciting to go and see some of the kids and some of the families and reconnect and just actually get to see the movie on the big screen. And the best part was they offered me a +1.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So, of course, I had to take my number one fan.
That is true. I moved schools just to be closer to you.
Just to be closer to me. Yeah. So, so after a quick autograph session where I think I signed your shirt and that was about it. And,
there's a few other things that's unmentionable.
Yeah.
So, you offered me up a sacrifice for your +1.
Yes.
It was really cool. I got to see that on the big screen with you, and that was a really awesome experience because this film actually did feel like it should have been on the big screen.
Yeah.
Out of all the Disney remakes into live action, this one definitely stands out, I think, as one of the better ones.
Oh, you're just saying that because it's true.
It is. It's cool because it doesn't go shot by shot, versus so many other ones.
Yeah, no, I really honestly legitimately enjoyed seeing it. It was such a treat to be able to I had all of these pieces in my head and then to have them all come together so flawlessly and with effects and music and everything. It was just incredible. It was a very surreal experience. And then to see my name in the credits at the very end was like probably one of the greatest moments of my life. I'm not going to lie. It was outstanding. Like it was like, okay, I level up, new achievement unlocked.
And your name was in there twice.
And so for some reason, my name was in there twice. I was listed under my actual position, which was education assistant. And then also apparently as an intern. So, Disney waiting on that second paycheck any day now.
Interns work for free. We went through this at lunch.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have agreed to be an unpaid intern. I didn't even know I agreed to be an intern, but I certainly wouldn't have agreed to be an unpaid intern. Okay, that's just.
Do you still have your contract?
I probably have a copy of it on my computer. Yeah,
you should probably go through that.
I should probably go through that.
Find out if you're actually was in there as a. At least it's better it's better than you thinking you're going to be in there as an educational assistant and instead showing up only as an intern.
Yes, that would have been a little bit weird.
Yeah,
but
all the stress was gone once you saw that.
All the stress was gone, mostly because they actually spelled my name right.
Hey, you had another win though. We went to Starbucks.
Yes, that's right. We had another Jesse win. We were a little bit early, so we went to Starbucks. Very fancy downtown Vancouver Starbucks with the special reserve.
That was nice
coffee, which was I can say legitimately better than the regular non-reserve coffees that I have had. But they asked for my name on the cup and they actually spelled it correctly as well. And right? Starbucks never spells my name. They always insist on putting an I before the last E. I don't know why. It is the female spelling. I guess I give off a lot of feminine energy. I don't know. Maybe
you do with all your fancy drinks.
I had a flat white.
Exactly.
It's like the most boring thing you can order.
I don't know. I'm just trying to pull straws. So how was it seeing all those because you got to see some of those scenes. So can you tell us now that that's out, can you tell us some more about things that you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want to know, but I feel like it's really interesting watching this whole filming process happen because nothing gets shot in order, right? Like nothing happens the way it was. The ending of the movie and the beginning of the movie were all shot and were the first things that we shot. And I think that was more to do with the scheduling of the Darling parents. So it was very bizarre, because then we got to the end of the movie and it was kind of like, oh yeah, right, this is we're coming back to this, and because like to me that was the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, just it's wild to see like how you can have one scene that just moves so fluidly from what is, you know, in reality maybe four different shooting locations combining into one.
Yeah.
So when they arrive in Neverland, first arrive in Neverland, that what you're seeing is Newfoundland, when they shot in Newfoundland, and that was shot, everything in Newfoundland was shot in August after I had already left. I did not unfortunately get to go, even though there was petitions by a lot of the parents to have me come along, because let's face it, I'm awesome. But in the end, it was just they could only bring a very small crew over due to accommodations and whatnot. So I understood. But anyway,
because it was still COVID time, right?
It was still COVID time.
Probably if it wasn't COVID time, maybe it would have been a bit easier for that.
And it would have been like 2 weeks of quarantining, and then, you know, 2 to 3 weeks of shooting, and then coming right back, and probably 2 more weeks of quarantining over on this side. So, you know, maybe just having the last bit of summer off instead was all right. But still, it would have been cool to go. It would have been cool just to like see it through to the end. But anyways, what I was saying was, so that first part where they're coming into Neverland, that is Newfoundland. And then as they're walking like through the forest to get to the Lost Boys base, that is what is actually shot just outside of Agassiz, which was cool. That was within the first few weeks of me being on it, getting to actually go back home to Agassiz and shoot was very cool.
No, what's even weirder is there's even a connection there too, because one of the other ones we went to school with, it was filmed on their property.
Yes, that's true.
Right, which is wild to think of.
Also, another Agassiz friend of mine ended up working as a stunt rigger on the show as well.
Yeah.
So, he was also at the showing today. But so you go from Newfoundland so flawlessly into Agassiz, and then actually inside the Lost Boys base was built on the studio in Burnaby. So there you go. You've got 3 very different, very far apart locations just seamlessly blended into one smooth shot, which was just, you know, it really gives you, I think, an appreciation for the magic that is film, that you can do that, right? And it just blows my mind, because it just feels like it doesn't feel like, you don't feel those transitions at all. It's just smooth and effortless. So I mean, is there any like anything specifically you want to know from now that you've seen
but like, you know, you'd work with some students.
Yes.
And there was mainly children in the movie.
Yes.
Were there any funny stories or interactions while on set, or?
Oh my goodness, those kids, especially some of the older ones, they love their pranks. They love to do pranks. Alex, who plays Peter, the number of times that I was not able to get water out of the water bottle dispenser because he had taped it over, and the number of times it would then like spray out onto my pants or into my face. And there was tape traps set up everywhere. But one thing that he did organize too, was a giant water fight for the cast and crew, especially as we got into the warmer months. We did have we were filming during that one day where it hit 45 degrees, and that was pretty intense.
Oh, right, yeah.
The kids were not allowed to film for more than 15 minutes at a time, because a lot of their costumes they're like wool and fur and very heavy.
Yeah.
So the costume department sewed pockets in for ice packs, and then we really, you know, did our best to keep them hydrated, and then only keep them out for little amounts of time.
Yeah.
But you know, I was really impressed actually with how much care went into making sure that those kids, you know, got their breaks, got water when they needed it, got food when they needed it, got school when they needed it. Like, you know, kudos to everyone, especially Rachel, the head studio teacher, who was also doing a lot of the on-set welfare for the kids. Like, kudos to her, especially for always pushing for them and making sure they were getting what they needed. So that was really good. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of tossing around footballs and playing Uno and cards and just any normal fun kid stuff in between takes, which was always really nice to see. It was really awesome to see them genuinely, like each other and get along and be like a real little family. So
who's your favorite Lost Boy then?
Oh, wow. Well, I feel like I'm obligated to say Slightly. No, I mean, it's definitely Slightly. I mean, Noah is just a terrific kid, and we had the exact same sense of humor. He loves his dad jokes. Super bright, and we had so much fun on set. I at least I had a lot of fun on set. This kid loves music, loves Broadway musicals, loves singing and sing-alongs, and there was just a lot of good happy times hanging out in between takes, just like tossing a ball or just chatting. And I got to know his parents too, and they're very lovely people as well. And but honestly, all the kids are great. We had kids as I said before from the UK, Noah was from the UK, from the States, and also local. And it was just, honestly, I feel so blessed that all of these kids were so wonderful. All of their parents were so wonderful. There was no crazy showbiz parenting going on. Like everyone was great. The whole cast and crew, honestly, just amazing to work with. And I would, if you guys ever want to do a sequel, I'm in. There was a couple of really standout moments for me, though, especially the day that Jude Law brought in the ice cream truck for the kids.
Now this has been reported too.
This has been reported on too. Yeah. Like, so I'm not just making this up. You can fact check me on this, unlike everything else I've told you.
Yeah. So I remember way back when you talked about the ice cream truck and how good the ice cream was. But you never mentioned anything about Jude Law. You talked only about you only talked about how good the ice cream was.
Oh,
almost your like daily reports back to me
were mostly about food. Yeah. Not gonna lie, that was a big thing for me. But, so the ice cream truck was kind of Jude's way of celebrating with the kids, because it was his last it was right at the end of his filming part, and he had, and this has also been reported on, about how he really stayed in character the whole time that he was around. So you would not see him dressed as Captain Hook walking around, like laughing and chatting and with people, right? Like he had that very like stern, scowly appearance and demeanor the whole time that he was on set, basically. And I think sometimes it translated into being a little harsh with the kids, which, it's difficult, right? Because, he's a very professional actor. He's very good at what he does. And I think it's hard not to expect a certain level of professionalism from those you work with, even when they're kids. And I was actually quite impressed, especially with how professional Alex and the rest of them were with their craft. Especially Alex, though, like just that kid was the hardest worker there as far as I was concerned. Like he, school, rehearsing, Pan, right? Practicing. This is Peter Pan. Yeah. Like he did a phenomenal job, and he deserves every credit that he gets for it. But so the ice cream truck was kind of a way, I think, to sort of do almost like an end of the thing icebreaker. Just to like let the kids see that side of him that, he was not, necessarily showing very often during the filming process, right? So yeah, he actually got the ice cream. He drove the ice cream truck in, and he actually served all the kids ice cream from the ice cream truck.
Dressed as Hook, or
no, just in his own dress, and it
he was in a dress.
Dressed in his own garb.
Hey, I gotta clear.
No. You're just trying to stoke scandal is what you're doing right now, and I don't appreciate it.
No. I'm getting clarification, so there is no scandal.
Okay.
Clarification, so there is no.
So, but yes, and of course, myself and the other teachers were there as well, because we were always pretty much doing at least one of us was with the kids at all times. And, when it came to Noah, very often I was sort of like an extra safe adult on set. So I would often be up on the set, which is how I actually got to go up on board the pirate ship during filming. So that because
that's pretty cool.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, so he served everyone ice cream. We all had. I mean, it was great ice cream. I'm not gonna lie. It was fantastic. And it was had a nice moment where I was talking to Rachel, the head studio teacher, and he came up. I guess he came up behind us, and she kind of like nodded with her head behind, and I turn around and he's standing right there, and he says to us, like, I just want to say that I think you're doing a really great job with the kids. And I was like, can I have that in writing, please? No, I didn't actually say that, but I just thanked him, and I said that I appreciated the ice cream and everything, and then that the kids really did too. And it was just a really nice moment. And I sort of have an unofficial reference from Jude Law now, so
that's fair.
Yeah,
you had a few interactions with him though, right?
I did have a few interactions with him over the course of filming. Not a lot, because like I said, he tended to stay in character, and I didn't want to mess with that, right? He was very intimidating as Hook, and like in that full gear and that scowl and everything. Yeah. Like he did not look like the friendly Jude Law I met at the ice cream truck afterwards, carrying a little 2-year-old baby. And but yeah, I very fortunately got a chance to talk with the majority of the actors. Everyone, like I said, everyone was quite pleasant.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. But yes, the pirate ship. Oh, so I'm going to tell you about the probably the two biggest highlights during the experience of filming. Yeah. So the first one was actually when we were shooting in Agassiz, and I think I was at craft services getting something to eat. Oh man, this is gonna. And they had just the best lasagna there, and it was just the greatest.
I remember there was like lobster mac and cheese you told me once.
Yeah, well, that was one time I went and they had mac and cheese on the menu. Yeah, and I said, "Oh, I'll have the mac and cheese," and they're like, "Oh, did you want the regular vegan pulled pork or lobster?" Yeah, and I was like, "Excuse me." What? And this was just craft services. This wasn't even like the catering company. This was just like the regular, you can go anytime and get food or drinks or whatever from them. And I honestly have no idea how I did not gain a ton of weight on this.
I just remember every message from you was about food. And I'd be like, well, what's it like on the movie? Oh, I can't tell you.
I can't talk about the movie, but the food, let me tell you. Ironically enough, the entire time, I don't know if craft services ever served onion rings. Like once. Now that I think about it, I know we had tater tots. I remember having like yam fries and like curly fries and things like that. But I don't know if we ever actually did onion rings. I don't remember. I mean, we had bloody sandwiches made of apple fritters. You think they could have had onion rings, but there was so much good stuff.
Lobster mac and cheese or apple fritter sandwiches.
Yeah,
those are way fancier than onion rings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had like steak and lobster for catering one time. that blew me away. I was like, I don't know. It's like, am I important enough in this movie to be eating steak and lobster right now? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever you can get your hands on. Again.
But anyway, so back to the two greatest moments. So I'm in Agassiz doing the filming. I'm feeling really, it's a kind of a proud moment because like I'm doing this movie, but I'm also in my hometown and it feels kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like the combination of the two. And, I remember one of the assistant directors came up to me and said, "Mr. Gadsby, you're needed on set." And that was like 6 words. Well, I don't know. Like, do I count Mr. as a word? But I guess I count Mr. Okay. Mr. Gadsby, you're needed on set. And I was like, what? Like this is the first time like I'd been on the set and I'd been on this and around before, but this is the first time where like this is like your dream moment, right? It's like you're needed on set. Me personally, I'm needed on set. And it was great. I got to he led me to where they were shooting, which was interesting because like the main base camp of where we were set up was not so far away, but it was quite removed from where the actual shooting was. So I hadn't actually gotten a chance to see until that point where we were shooting. But it was just, they just needed someone to hang out with Noah. I guess he was kind of wandering a little bit into the woods or not so much into the woods, but more so into the shot that they were trying to film at the time. This was where they were filming the conversation with Wendy and Tiger Lily just outside the Lost Boys lair just before she goes in. And
we saw her at the thing today too, Tiger Lily.
We did. We saw Tiger Lily, we saw Nibs, and we saw oh shoot. Oh, this is bad. So also saw Diana, who plays Birdie. So Birdie and Nibs and Tiger Lily were all there, which was, definitely nice to see the kids and their families. It's because it's been quite a while since the last time I saw them.
So they look much different.
It's funny. I thought they would, but they actually don't look that much different.
Yeah.
It's been like almost 2 years, but they still pretty much the same. Diana, she's so funny. She like, as I said, she plays Birdie, and she has the best angry face. Like you look at her, like when she's on screen and she's got like a pissed off face, she is terrifying. Also, if you ever see like she's got videos on YouTube, like her dad is a stunt person and martial artist, and he's done a lot of training with her, and she's a fantastic stunt.
Is that the one that had the staff though?
Yes, she had the spear.
So you can set, for the fact that I don't really recall them using the name, so I can understand why you had your moment.
Yeah.
You were just like
pause. Just a total brain fart. I'm sorry, Diana, if you're listening.
But yeah, it makes sense because I don't recall any of the names. Like you hear Peter and you hear Wendy and you hear Hook, and like everybody else's name is
me.
Yeah, it's me.
But it's funny because like so many of the pirates had names.
Yeah.
The twins were literally, what their names were in the film was Twin 1 and Twin 2.
Nice.
It was literally, that was their names.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny because it was Nibs, Toodles, Curly, Birdie, Peter, Slightly, Twin 1 and Twin 2. And that was the Lost Boys. So it was, that was always kind of funny to me.
Nice. So when you had your ventures in the wilderness here, so you had the one moment, and that was being on set.
Yes.
So that needs to be a shirt. Mr. Gadsby, you were needed on set, and then on the back needs to be the screenshot of your film credit.
Of my film credit. Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll get mugs, and then I'll get t-shirts for everyone I know. Start a whole merchandising empire.
Just on Mr. Gadsby,
just on Mr. Gadsby, you're wanted on set. And then, the second greatest moment, was the day that I was, so we switched filming from, Burnaby Studio to, location Richmond, where they had built the pirate ship. So that pirate ship that you see in the movie was nowhere near water during any of the filming. So I apologize if I'm shattering any illusions for you, but
no,
that pirate ship
interesting.
was nowhere near water.
Right?
That
Like,
it was the pirate ship was actually like a full-size pirate ship built on hydraulics and completely surrounded in the lot by blue screen.
yeah.
And I remember just walking up to it and being in awe and feeling so sad that I had to just leave my student there to go up and then go back to the classroom way far on the other side of the lot. And I hoped and prayed that one day I would get to actually go up on the, and be up on the pirate, like just once. I just want to go up and see it once. And then the day the studio teacher came up to me and said, so I'm going to need your help up on the boat today. And I was like, yeah, you do. All right. I mean, yeah, cool, whatever. Sure. I guess I could go up on the boat. I don't mind. But it was amazing because you go up there and you feel like you're literally on a pirate ship.
Yeah.
You know, that ship, nothing about that ship, you know, the construction of that ship was CGI. Like all the masts are there. Everything that you see, all the carvings, all the wood, like everything was there. It was phenomenal. The detail that went into that ship, and then actually getting to go up and see every part of it. It was great. And then like being on it when the hydraulics were going, so it felt like you were right on the ocean.
Oh, nice.
Going up and down and side to side. And there is a scene, spoiler alert, there's a scene in the movie where the ship tilts over and all of the pirates come crashing off, and that was actually fully done on the ship. The hydraulics were able to fully tip it over to the side, and then there's another scene during that same battle where the kids are all hanging upside down off the ship, and that section of the ship was actually rebuilt as a separate set piece where that could actually rotate 360 degrees, and so that was wild, seeing that all come together and knowing that this was like two completely different sets, just flawlessly combined into one scene. And even the captain's quarters was built, was a set back in Burnaby, so everything done in the captain's quarters wasn't even done while we were shooting the exterior stuff with the ship. So just still blew my mind to see all of that just come together. Oh, so good.
So you met the director too, right?
I did meet the director, yes. Directed by David Lowery, who did Pete's Dragon and more recently The Green Knight, I think was his last film before this one. Very nice guy. I was so impressed at how completely patient he was with the kids, and I learned that apparently he had a lot of a lot of siblings, so used to, I guess, dealing with that kind of dynamic. And just absolutely so impressed with how he handled all of the quirks of working with kids, from that age range of like 8 to 14. You're gonna have little meltdowns, and you're going to have little things here and there, right? Because they're still kids, right?
Yeah, they're learning.
So, and for the case of like Noah, it was really his first major production, right? And I think that was not necessarily the same situation for all of them, but I think for them to be part of like a massive Disney film, I think it's a little bit of a different experience than probably anything they've done before. Right. So, but yes, I had a chance to speak with him a couple of times just while we were just kind of chilling out with the kids and their families. having downtime, sometimes he'd just come over and sit and chat with us. And I legitimately pitched him a scene in the movie.
Nice. Did it end up in the movie?
It did not end up in the movie because it was a ridiculous idea where it was like a multiverse Lost Boys where basically every Lost Boy was played by a member of the Avengers.
Of course.
So
okay.
So surprisingly, it didn't make it into the movie, but he did laugh, and I think he appreciated the suggestion anyway. And then, you know, after that, he would often come to me for advice.
I'm sure.
Sorry, I can't even keep it straight. No,
I'm surprised you didn't just like offer to be a pirate yourself.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Are you kidding me? That was like one of the first things I did. Especially when I saw. They had at the Richmond set they had a giant tent for all of the background pirate extras because there was like 50 of them, so it was like an area where they could take their break and have like changing rooms and things like that. And I said to them every day, if you need a backup pirate, I'm your man. Like I will suit up. Yeah, I am ready. I know I have responsibilities in the school, but they can wait. So I tried my best. I even offered to like, you know, pose as a mermaid if they needed it. But
that's impressive.
But you know, I was unfortunately, you know, just kind of like laughed at and shot down on every turn.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a little.
I got sad real quick.
It's a little disheartening. It's fine.
You met another famous director though.
I did meet another famous director. Yes, I did. So, pardon me. Yes. So, Ever Anderson plays Wendy, and her parents are Mila Jovovich and Paul Anderson, who directed all of the Resident Evil movies and the original Mortal Kombat, and more recently he did the Monster Hunter movie. Anyway, he's had a very, very impressive career. And so they were both very present on set, just as much as any of the other parents were. And the first time I met, I think I mentioned the first time I met Mila, I didn't even know it was her that I was talking to. Because again, with COVID, you know, she had a mask, she had, her head was wrapped up, she had sunglasses on. She was hanging around the parents thing. So I just assumed that she was a family member of somebody that I had not met yet. And it turns out it was her the whole time I was chatting with her. And I didn't know until someone came up and said, Mila, someone's looking for you. And then it clicked in my head. Like I knew that she was the parent of Ever, but it didn't occur to me that she would just be there. Anyway, so I got to know her, another quite lovely person. But I also got to know her husband, Paul, because, you know, there was a lot of times where we were kind of the only guys on set hanging with the parents. I mean, there were a lot of dads there as well, but a lot of times it was the mom. And then it would be like him and I kind of like, you know, just having bro chats.
But you didn't pitch him any movies?
I did not pitch him any movies, no. But it was really interesting just talking with him and hearing about his experiences, like shooting all over the world. And the hearing about, you know, just all the traveling and work he's done for her movies and supporting Mila and her stuff, and now, you know, supporting Ever and her career, which is starting to unfold as well. So, but yeah, like I did not know that Paul Anderson was like the Paul Anderson that did like all of the directing stuff when I knew him. Like it was like a couple of times talking before realizing, oh, he's that Paul Anderson. Because, and I think it was because like I Googled him or his wife or something, and then it was like Paul Anderson, director. I'm like, director? Yeah. Wait, Paul Anderson, like that director? Yeah. So thanks, Google. Eventually you got me up to speed.
So you needed to have like something to sign and like try to steal autographs and.
Yeah, that was all I did was pretend to get people to sign things that they didn't really need to sign, just so I would have a bunch of autographs. My eBay page is still available. Yeah, if you want to check them out, it's Ladies Man 4527.
Okay, that's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. Anyway.
The other day you did tell me a story though. You did have another interaction with Jude Law.
Oh yeah.
A really sweet, touching moment.
Well, it was very sort of unexpected. Really, it was kind of just me. Honestly, like it was just me doing my job, really.
Yeah.
Because well, as I mentioned, he tended to stay in character on set, and so seeing any break from that was rare. And I remember coming out and seeing him, and I think maybe a couple of the other pirates were standing around and looking at the ground, and I looked down, and one of the youngest kid who plays Michael Jacoby, he was kind of like lying on the ground and complaining about being tired. And I guess they had just sort of one more scene to do for the day, but he was kind of just being. So I kind of just instinctively stepped in and was just like, it's like, oh, buddy, I know you're feeling tired, but we've only got one more thing today. And I said, do you remember that story that we read earlier in the day? Because thank God we actually read a story that was relevant to this exact moment earlier in the day. I said, do you remember? He didn't want to do his chores. He just wanted to give up because it was hard and he was having a hard time. But then he decided that, he was just going to push through and get it done, because he knew that it wasn't just him that was affected when he didn't do his work. It was everybody. Yeah. Right. And so he kind of reluctantly got up and started to go, and Jude just said, okay, so we've got one more thing to do, right? And it's like, you just need to remember to listen to Mr. And he turns to me and says, what's your name again? And this was before the end of the thing, so he hadn't gotten to know about my brilliance yet. But Jacoby says, "Oh, that's Jesse," and he says, "Okay, well, you just remember what Mr. Jesse told you, and we'll get through this last scene again." He's like, "Okay." So then they went off, and
see, now it's and that was fine. Is Jude Law's going to be watching this movie and watching the credits and be like, "Wait a minute, where's that Mr. Jesse guy?
Yeah,
where's this Gatsby?"
Oh, he's under the interns. So that was that was a really nice moment too.
But like that's big. Like that's actual interaction with celebrities of high status within your career and profession. Like
I guess, but really, like honestly,
how often would you do that? Like
no,
well,
not with a celebrity, but like just like stepping in and helping a student that's having a rough time, like that's just what that's my job. That's what I do. And it was more in the moment. It was just like, I saw a student that needed help. It wasn't that like, oh, I wanted to make a big deal of everything in front of Jude. Or like,
no. But I'm just saying, like, it's cool to have that acknowledgement.
But it is kind of cool.
And
to
see that and like to have those interactions, like that stuff you'll never hear or see on behind the scenes of Pan and Wendy, right?
No, they don't talk about me enough in the documentaries. Honestly,
I know. You should be in every documentary.
Well, like the whole documentary behind the scenes, Peter Pan and Wendy, it's an hour and a half long. I get maybe 25-30 minutes of that, and it's like, this wing wouldn't have even been made without me.
That's true.
So. That's
true. You are in every scene. You just can't see you because you wore a blue suit.
That's right. No, but I can pretty much tell you in every scene where I am.
Oh, I know. You started.
I know. Poor Mike. He's just trying to enjoy the movie. And every few minutes I'm like, hey, you want to know where I'm standing? Or, hey, see that dog there? I totally pet that dog.
So that's what you need to do. You just need to watch the movie again and record all your moments of where you were.
Record it and then just have it as like an extra feature.
Yeah.
And you can Disney Plus. You can turn on my commentary, and then just every few minutes you hear me going, "Hey, so see that closet over there? Yeah, I'm in that closet."
Were you actually in the closet?
I was at one point in a closet. Yes. And
why were you in a closet?
In the nursery.
But why were you in the closet?
Because it was
just you're in the nursery. Well, I had to be in the closet. It still doesn't answer the question. Why are you in the closet in the nursery on set?
Well, there was more than a few times where I had to like get into cramped places so I could still be on set but not interfering with the shot, right? Because
so there's like you in a closet.
Well, there were other people in there too.
How many people fit in the closet?
You could fit 4 in the closet.
And that was COVID safe.
We all had masks. And actually, so whenever I was up on the boat, I had to the boat specifically because it was like you're so close to other people, you're so close to the actors. Not only did I have to wear a mask, but I also had to have the face shield. But the face shield or goggles. So yeah, that was an interesting aspect of the film for sure because of COVID. So there was a very, very strict method that the kids had, especially for removing their mask before they shoot. Yeah. They would still be required to wear their mask right up to the moment before they basically stepped on set. Yeah. And, they did a really wonderful job, I think, of keeping everyone accountable and masks and supplying masks and making sure that we were all being tested. I mean, I was because I had direct contact with the cast. I was tested 3 times a week without fail. Yeah. And if you didn't pass or you missed your test, you were not able to work until you had another one.
So why were there so many people in the closet? And was there other things in the closet?
Okay, so here's the thing.
And were you like trapped? Was it like actual like 4-walled closet kind of thing?
No, not at all.
Did it have a back?
No, it didn't have a back. It was like, okay, yeah, it didn't.
So that's not as creepy. No, here I was thinking they were just like shove these people in the closet in case the kids have a meltdown.
And then we would just
burst out of the closet. That's not terrifying. That's the start of a horror movie.
I wrecked so many shots just coming out of the closet. No. So this is one thing I learned about working in the film industry is you have no idea how many people are behind the scenes at any given moment working on things. Like I always thought, okay, you've got like the director, you've got probably some like producers, some assistants watching, like and the camera guys and whatever. So I'm thinking like 10, maybe 12 people max, right? Yeah. But no, you have the director, you have the second assistant director, the third assistant director, you have PAs, you have, for when there's kids involved, there's at least one studio teacher for welfare. In this case, there was often an EA on set. Yeah. And then there's in the closet, and then there's the stunt people, there's the camera people, there's the sound people, there's the special effects people, there's the costume people, there's the makeup people that are all there, all ready to jump in and fix if anything goes wrong. Yeah. It's unbelievable how many people are actually required to be there for any given shot, and obviously some more than others. But in this case, it was me and the teacher and one of the assistant directors and one of the costume people who had to be close by myself and the teacher for the welfare, and then the other two just to jump in and fix or rearrange, or if anything was getting in the way of the shot, be there for that. So
did you ever ruin a shot? Did you actually like officially ever ruin a shot?
I did. It wasn't intentional, Like, I don't like that you're implying that it was.
No,
like,
I wasn't saying.
Did you ever wake up one day and been like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna fucking ruin this shit today"? Like, woo, woo. No, it was unintentional. So there was a lot of, like I said,
So what scene is this?
So this,
people can watch it.
This is well, I didn't ruin anything that made it into the movie.
But it would be refilmed because
it would be refilmed. So there was a scene, the big battle on the pirate ship, right? And
like a climactic scene.
Yes,
like,
this was the big
not
climactic,
just like in like the forest, and they're like, the Sasquatch is back.
No, this was on the pirate ship. And so the pirate ship, if you like, there's the front of the ship, and then there's the back of the ship, which has the door
usually
to the captain's cabin, right? Which, as I said, the captain's cabin actual set was different and much bigger. And this, you actually open the door to the captain's set, and it's like, there's a little bit of prop work right as the door opens that you can see, but then you kind of go around the corner of that, and it's just the stairs going down to the back of the ship, backing out of the ship. But anyway, so there was a couple of times where, so sometimes when they would be shooting like the big fight, rumbly pirate fight scenes, on the deck, there would be a bunch of us, because again, a bunch of us had to still be there inside that captain's cabin with the door closed. Apparently at one point though, my shirt was visible through the window of the captain's cabin. And so I had to, they were very nice about it. Like it wasn't like, they weren't upset or anything, but the one of the assistant directors came up to me and just said, "You're going to have to move to a different spot because we have to shoot this again now because we can see your shirt through it." So it was a very
was it the shirt you're wearing?
It was not the shirt I'm wearing right now. No, it was a very bright blue shirt.
Oh, nice.
So it was a color that definitely stands out on a dreary pirate ship.
You would think they would have almost, because of you being on set and you needed to be hidden, they would have like required you to wear certain things.
Oh,
well, like but like something like here is a black robe or something, like
a black robe.
What
kind of movie do you think this is?
When I was in theater, you had to wear a lot of all black, right? So that you didn't stand out if you had to do anything.
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean.
So I'm surprised that wasn't like, oh, here, have this on, like,
No, it was they spent a lot of time like planning out the shots and basically
just been in a black Zeddy suit. Do you even need the mask or the goggles?
Oh my god, no.
He could have been Peter's shadow.
Oh. Peter, why is your shadow so overweight?
I wasn't trying to be an insult. It was. But this here is that moment where we can ask this trivia question when we have our friend's birthday party. Mm-hmm. And if they listen to the podcast, they'll know the answer. What scene did Jesse ruin?
Yeah.
In Peter and Wendy.
In Peter, Pan and Wendy. It sounds so bad though, because it sounds like I permanently ruined it when you put it that way. What about like? Can we just say what scene did Jesse temporarily ruin?
What? Or there's the other question we can always ask is, what types of things did Jesse have to hide in during Peter and Wendy?
Closets.
Was there anything else?
Oh, so bears. Bears, yeah. Bearskin rugs. Like I had to go underneath the bearskin rug. And
I was curious, like, there wasn't any.
No.
Was there anything else you had to hide in?
No, because a lot of the time filming in the studio, like the sets were sort of designed in a way that, there could be people on the sidelines that were not going to be directly into the shot. So most of the time it was, but when you're dealing with like a big open pirate ship, right? Yeah. It's a lot harder to have those spaces than when you're indoors.
Should just put you in a crate.
So,
or a barrel.
So really it was just put me in yeah, sure.
You just popped out. It's okay. Don't cry. It's me, Mr. Jesse.
There's another funny moment that happened on the pirate ship. So a lot of times I would be in between takes, I'd help the teacher Rachel just kind of bring the kids water bottles, and especially if my student was Noah was filming, I would go and I say my student Noah, but really I helped all of them at one point or another, I think, with something. So I really, they're all my children. They're all my children. They're all special to me. They really are good kids. But anyway, so I'd be bringing them water in between, and I remember, and as I mentioned, Noah has the exact same sense of humor as me. So it's all dad jokes. And he had this dad joke book that he would use to try and get out of schoolwork sometimes by just reading dad jokes. He knew I'd appreciate them. So sometimes I had to just be like, okay, let's stop. Like we gotta take a break and do like some real work here. But I also, obviously, being a lover of the
fine craft of dad
jokes of Papa, would share a lot of mine with him, and apparently he would then turn and share them with the pirates on the ship in between takes. So I remember the first time, or one of the first times going up there, and I brought him his water bottle, and he says, "Thanks, Jesse." And the group of pirates turns and like, "Oh, you're Jesse. You're the one teaching him all these jokes." And I was like, guilty. Yeah, that's me.
So you did ruin the pirates' jokes. That's why they were so ornery.
Yeah, that's how I kept that's how I did my part to keep the pirates ornery, feed the kids lots of dad jokes.
So what is a dad joke that you told? Can you remember any of them?
Oh, let's see.
There's got to be at least one in your arsenal.
You're putting me on the spot.
I know.
I'm so bad at so much of my humor is reactionary, right? Where I just react to the situation. I don't have a lot of I don't necessarily have like a lot of
a Rolodex
of dad jokes. It's so spontaneous and reactionary, but I will try and think of one for you here. Blanking. Oh, I mean, like, this is a really bad one, but I gave him the old classic of Grasshopper walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Hey, we have a drink named after you." And Grasshopper says, "You have a drink named Steve?"
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
So I promise they were mostly better than that one. That's a really bad one, but you're putting me on the spot, and that was the best I could come up with at the time. So
no, that was good though. We can gauge what you're doing to craft a child's mind.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious. These are things I find interesting because I actually have someone that I can ask these weird offbeat questions for. There was somebody else you met. There was someone else you met that is famous in the sci-fi world, but it was pretty much.
I met a lot of famous people.
Pretty much a voice actor for Disney now. It seems like if he's not in their movie, it usually doesn't succeed. He plays Mr. Darling.
Ah, yes, Mr. Alan Tudyk. So, yes, that was an interesting.
Was that more intimidating for you than Jude Law?
Actually, it was, because I met him before I met Jude Law. Jude Law didn't start right away on the filming until. So I think it was a while before. It was at least a few weeks before he started his stuff. There was a lot of filming of other things beforehand. Like I said, the beginning and the end of the movie, which he's not really in, was the focus of the first.
I was surprised being such a big name, how small of a role he had.
Yeah, it was a very small role, but I was super excited because, I was a big Alan Tudyk fan from Firefly and just. Even A Knight's Tale, he's hilarious, and so it was. I was I was intimidated, and also, at this point, I hadn't really met a lot of celebrities, and it had been a very long time since I had met anyone remotely famous, and I honestly had no idea how he was going to react to meeting someone famous. Like, was I going to keep it together, be normal? Was I going to dissolve into like a fangirling puddle of, just ecstasy and regret later on? Or, I really didn't know. So I had an opportunity a few times to like just go up and talk to him, and I kept chickening out because I was so nervous, just because it was like he was like the first, like quite famous person that I was gonna have the opportunity to talk to.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I remember one day I was having a conversation with Joshua, who plays John Darling, and I was like, he's like, oh, so have you met Alan yet? And I said, oh, not really. Like, I've kind of been nervous to go and talk to him because I'm such a big fan. And he's like, oh, you got to do it. He's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's not like, he's going to be done filming soon. You're not going to have many chances. You got to just go do it. So thanks to Josh, I actually did go up to him and talk to him. And it just had a really nice little pleasant conversation with him. And just, I didn't go into like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. I love everything you do. I worship the ground you walk on, or anything like that. I kept it cool, which was nice. I found, over the course of this film that I could actually talk to people, I guess, more famous people, and just be normal about it and not fangirl on the outside, at least. On the inside, there was
just dying.
There was a lot of there was a lot of hand waving and high pitched squealing and things like that. But yeah, it was good. It was a good experience overall. And just talked to him a couple of times and just said a few words. Like, we never had any deep conversations or anything like that, but
never went out for beers.
No. And then I had some nice conversations with Molly Parker too, who played Mrs. Darling. She was very sweet, and she did so much to keep the kids focused and together between takes when they were filming their scenes together. Like, it was a very motherly vibe.
Nice
for all of the kids. It was very, very nice. And I happened to run into her one evening on the way to craft services. And
did you happen to consider blogging this?
No, I didn't actually.
That should have been a whole Instagram for you,
right? My
travels in craft services.
What percentage of my daily steps actually going to and from craft services? Like, I could have logged this. I could have figured it out.
Yeah. So on the way to craft services, going for something. On
the way to craft services, it was in the evening. I think I was going for like a cup of tea or something. They had this really good orange herbal tea. So it was a nice kind of alternative if you just wanted something warm that wasn't full of caffeine. Because I consume a lot of caffeine during the day. They gave me unlimited access to coffee. Like, what was I supposed to do? Anyways.
Drink all the coffee.
Was it
good coffee at least?
It was actually pretty good coffee. Like, it wasn't like the best coffee, but it wasn't like walk into a gas station and they've, peed into an urn kind of thing either. So, no, it was pretty decent. Which, I'm honestly, I'm not surprised. Like,
on a chain like coffee level, where would you rate the craft service coffee? Everyone's dying to know this.
I would say,
and this is also now a trivia question.
So this was just like regular coffee. This wasn't like espresso or a fancy thing. And I would say like it's just as good as like a Waves or a Starbucks even, maybe. Yeah. Just for regular coffee.
Like, so a pretty not a fast food, but like a decent.
No, better than fast food, but more like a chain coffee shop versus like a smoking gun or something like that, right?
Nice. So what did Molly say to you?
So yes, on my way to craft services, and I just and this was I actually went up to her.
Got, like, knifed.
What?
I'm trying to sprinkle some drama into this. It was a dark, stormy night.
I did not get knifed on the set of Peter Pan. I did not get knifed on the set of Peter Pan and Wendy.
That's the trivia question.
True or false? Did Jesse get knifed on the set of Peter Pan and Wendy? True, but how many times? No. So anyway, sorry. Back to Molly. So I ran into her and I said, look, I just want to say, I think that, you do such a great job trying to keep the kids together and focused when we're on set. Like I see all the work that you put into it. And I just said, yeah, I think it's really great. And so she thanked me and, just had like a nice little pleasant chat or whatever mostly about working with the kids. And, it was just really nice. Like I know this sounds cliche, but they're just normal people, guys. They're just
just trying to do their job.
They're just trying to do their job, They're just trying to do their job. And most of the time, if you ask to do like a nude tracing, they'll say yes.
I did not expect you to go there. This is.
Now, that being said, I never actually asked anyone for nude tracing, but this is what I gather from my interaction, that if I had, it probably would have been okay.
I feel like the episode went from being like not explicit to now needing to like mark that and like yeah. Fair. Who was your least favorite Lost Boy?
Oh, don't do that. No, there was no. I absolutely had a blast working with all of them.
Who was your least favorite pirate?
Who's my least favorite pirate? Jeez.
I gotta stir some drama up, right?
With the Lost Boys, like there were some that I did not get to work with as much. I didn't, I had very little interaction and time with Wendy actually. And a big part of that was because she had her own teacher because she was in French immersion. So she had her own teacher that was separate from the rest of the class with the rest of the kids. And then also there was a lot of time where the two youngest ones, Sebastian and Jacoby, would also be off in a separate trailer with another teacher doing school, just because they were so much younger. And so they had it was a lot easier to do kind of like group stuff with the rest of the kids that were all kind of around the same age. And I mean, being 8 years old, you don't always have the best focus when it comes to school time, especially when you're like in a costume because you're also in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
I get it. If I was 8 years old in a costume in a Disney movie, I wouldn't want to put a lot of focus into school. That's fair. Too. So I wouldn't say there was any Lost Boys that I liked the least, but I definitely worked with some more than others. I did a lot of French practice with Josh, which was always a lot of fun because I wouldn't let him just get away with mediocre French ever. Yeah. And he probably hated me a little bit for that. The twins, they had their own curriculum. They're from the States, so they had a different school than the UK or the Canadian kids. Yeah. And theirs was all online. So really with them, it was a lot more just kind of checking in and seeing what they were doing. Felix, who plays Bellwether, he definitely required some redirection to keep focused on stuff, but great kid. Florence loves to chat. She would just chat your ear off if you let her. And Kaylin, just like this kid is like the epitome of cool. Like he's just cool without even trying to be cool. He's just cool. And smart as a whip too. And he actually is quite a talented rapper. He's got his own, he's got a bunch of songs on Spotify. Oh, really? He's constantly coming out with new music. So, Kaylin Eady, check it out on Spotify if you want to hear some good young raps. He even did some recording and working on them in, during the filming. So, nice. Yeah, we get to hear little bits of him sometimes. But yeah, I like all of them. There's one character you did talk about that we hadn't talked about. Smee, yes. So Smee is probably the one person at craft services more than I am. And I found out later that Jim Gaffigan apparently is a big foodie and loves his food. So he was probably there more than, but most of the times I saw him was at craft services. Yeah. And the kids absolutely loved him. Yeah. Like they loved being on set with him because he would just make them laugh the whole time. Like,
Nice.
But yeah, super, super funny guy. It was always cracking jokes in the craft service lineup and joking with anyone and everyone who would listen to anyone and everyone. So
That's awesome.
yeah, very, very nice guy. Yeah, the only staff member, cast member, crew member, somebody, this member, was Tinkerbell, because her scenes were all filmed in LA.
Yeah.
Digitally and then added in. Like, so Tinkerbell was just like a little like koosh ball or something most of the time. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was,
How was the dog?
how was the, oh, such a sweet dog, Nana. Oh my gosh. Like oh my God. I swear everything just kind of shut down whenever she was on set, because everyone was just like in love with this dog.
Yeah.
It's such a cool, and was only there, I think, for maybe 3 or 4 days of shooting. It wasn't a huge, time, but, we love that dog.
You had mentioned filming at the Skull Rock set.
Yes. So the Skull Rock set was, built entirely indoors and was one of the coolest sets I've ever seen, because it was almost completely self-enclosed, and had actual real water pumped into the bottom. So when you saw the boats going through the water in Skull, that was actual water.
Nice.
And there was often stuntmen in full scuba gear underneath the boat, dragging it along and directing it, or keeping it steady so that the actors didn't topple out or whatever. So yeah, that was interesting, and that was a lot of filming, and one of the most heartbreaking things for me was seeing them build this absolutely beautiful set, and then we shot for a few weeks in that set, and then start to tear it down. And I was just like, no, like it to me, it was the most impressive set in the entire film. Just like maybe the pirate ship was the most impressive set.
So that's pretty amazing.
But just the level of detail and all the elements that went into it and everything, it was just so heartbreaking to see them start tearing it down and knowing that this was never. I don't honestly know what I was expecting. Like, obviously, you can't keep sets just in a storeroom or whatever, right? Like, it's not like, oh, we'll use this again next year.
Yeah.
Although, on that note, the pirate ship was purchased by a TV series that filmed in the same studio called Shogun. So if you ever watch the series Shogun, I'm not sure when it's coming out. It is the boat, at least one of the boats is the same boat as the pirate ship Peter Pan and Wendy. Fun fact for y'all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's some trivia.
Yeah, there you go. Who's the only character to appear in Peter Pan and Wendy and the series Shogun? The boat. Pay attention, listeners, in case there is a trivia question on this. But yeah.
That's pretty wild. Like I said, that's a big set. They can repurpose that.
Oh,
faster.
definitely. But I did manage to at least sneak a little piece of Skull Rock off the set. I have it in my bag.
Thievery.
I have it in my bag of souvenirs. I didn't take any actual props. Like, this was literally a piece of like the styrofoam textured rock from the wall of the cave.
You know, if you could have taken any prop, what would probably be taken?
Oh,
that you like came in contact with.
You know what?
Well, you came in contact with in some form.
It was really interesting, like all the props and little pieces that went into the kids' costumes. There's so much that you miss because you see just such brief flashes of some of their costumes sometimes, but the amount of detail was incredible. We had I know I've mentioned this, but we had the costume designer from the Lord of the Rings do all the costumes for the movie. And like, I was just blown away by the amount of detail that went into some of these costumes. So all the kids would have, you know, their clothes, but then there was all these little pieces like necklaces and decorations, and Slightly had his telescope and his slingshot, and Nibs had a slingshot. And
did you have to ever take the slingshot away?
Well, yeah, I had to take the slingshot. No, but I threatened to take the slingshot away sometimes. But it was a very valuable prop. But the prop people were really good about retrieving them most of the time. But you know, every once in a while they would forget and leave him with it for a little bit too long, and he'd get a little bit uppity with a slingshot. But he had no ammo for it or anything. But he liked to pretend to point it at me and shoot, and I would have to bring out the teacher voice and. Yeah. But so all of those props though, like, I think probably, Toodles, he had this really cool crown made of like twigs and sticks.
Oh, okay.
I think that would have been a really cool thing to keep from the set. Yeah.
Toodles crown.
I think that would be in the top. One of the cannons, maybe, from the pirate ship. I don't know where I'd put it, but that'd be all right. Who needs
a sofa when you got a cannon, right?
Right. I mean, you know, it's like, where do we sit down? And it's like, where does the cannon tell you to sit down?
So now, after seeing it all together, getting to actually experience it, what would be your review of the film? This is a completely biased review of Peter.
This is a completely biased review of Peter Pan and Wendy. The best part of this movie was how well the kids were taught. Like, just it really shines through in every scene. The amount of schooling they got during this film. You know, I don't think they would. I'm sorry. No, honestly, this, as biased as it is, this was an absolute joy to watch. I mean, I think that I will certainly appreciate it on levels that people that weren't there filming will appreciate. But just seeing it all put together with music and with sound effects and with, you know, all these different pieces that I had in my brain coming together, it was a wonderful experience. It was one of the best probably experiences I've had watching a movie in the theater. It's I think it stays true to the original material in a lot of ways, but it's also, you know, takes things in some different directions and gives a fresh perspective on some of the relationship between Hook and Peter Pan. And yeah, I think everyone in that movie did a amazing job. Nice. So kudos to them. And I hope that my teaching had some small part in it.
Now, in case you share this and they decide, wait a minute, we should listen to this because this is our old friend, Mr. Jesse.
Yeah.
What is something you would say to those kids right now?
Right now, I would say,
do your homework.
Do your homework. Yeah. Like, seriously, do your homework. No, I would say that, you know, I was so impressed with even the amount of growth I saw in them just over those 5 months that we had together, and to just keep following their dreams, because they all have what it takes to, you know, I think really be great professional actors in and continue on in this field. And I wish them nothing but the best.
Nice. Well, that's good. Appreciate that. I appreciate all that you shared, because like there's a lot there. There's like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, damn.
You almost got your hour and a half special just about you. Right?
Jesse.
So, you know, if you got 15 more minutes of like content, then you're golden.
I don't know. I got 15 minutes, but I do remember there was one time I remember it was really weird, but so I guess where the studio was, there was apparently paparazzi 1 or 2 buildings over trying to get shots from the rooftop of the kids back at the studio. So there was a period of about a week or so where we would actually have to when we were escorting the students to set, we'd have to have umbrellas covering them, even if it was like a bright sunny day, just have umbrellas up over them to cover them from potential paparazzi photos. So that was a really weird and interesting thing.
Yeah.
But
that is strange. What is the scariest part of working on this for you?
Oh, the scariest part?
Did anything like dangerous happen?
There was
Did
nothing.
Love beat you down one day?
I know you really want that to have happened, but no, nobody beat me down. Honestly, the scariest part, I think, sometimes was just worrying that I was going to ruin a shot, right? Like worrying that I was going to mess something up, or that, I was going to be the cause of a massive reshoot.
Yeah.
But
cue the Ron Howard. Little did he know, he actually did ruin a shot.
Oh yeah. But I think there was just a bit of fear, honestly, going in, doing the teaching, because I had a much more, my role ended up being a lot more of a teacher's role than a typical education assistant. So as an education assistant, we are there in the classrooms supporting one or more students, but we're not the teachers, right? Yeah. We're not presenting them with the material. We're not necessarily making sure that everything is completed and handed in. But for me, I would receive emails every morning from his teacher back in the UK, and I would then provide the lessons to him, teach him the stuff that so I was the front line, like all of the teachers there, we all relied on each other because we all had strengths and weaknesses. So things that we were not so good at, maybe others were so good at. Like, for example, Rachel, the head studio teacher, she was wonderful when it came to like maths and sciences, but she was not as strong when it came to like French and languages and English stuff, right? So, sometimes if Noah was struggling with something with math, sometimes she would step in with math and help. And then like I said, I would help Joshua with his French, or I would even working with the kids' photo doubles. Sometimes I would go up to their school, which was in a separate part of the studio, and I would help teach them French too. So it was such a lovely community of teachers. Like the teachers I worked with were honestly some of the loveliest people I have ever met, and I would love to be able to work with them again. Just such a caring community where we all took care of each other and made sure that everyone had what they needed, and
that's good. And
every student was looked after. And I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful having such a small ratio of teachers to students as well. Whereas, in our job, we see, classes with one teacher with, up to like 27, 30 students or more. And
there are 4 different classrooms with the same amount.
So, it was really overall a lovely experience. And
so what you're telling me in this moment is you're going to quit your job and become a teacher and work in the film industry.
I would love to do that. And I would like to start working towards being a teacher, just because I could then go and work more in the film industry. And it was honestly a blast. It was the best job that I have ever had. I hope I get to do more of it.
Well, if you believe, you need to clap, just like, when Tinkerbell dies in Hook, and maybe Jesse's life will reinvigorate and he'll grow his wings and go off and leave us for Hollywood.
What are you doing right now? Like, what is this?
I'm hoping those are listening will help cheer you on to it and spark your next.
Your next venture.
It. Yeah.
I hear it.
Dang, can't you?
They're clapping.
Yes.
They're clapping, Mike.
They're shouting your name.
They're shouting my name. It's spelled wrong.
Your name was not spelled wrong in the credits. The biggest fear you had.
It was not. That was like a pseudo fear.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like I was legitimately like, is it even going to actually be in the credits? Like, are they actually going to put me in there? Because, you think like there's so many thousands of people that work on a film, and sometimes you feel you feel like, and everyone, you know, like so many times they're strutting around and they all have this sense of urgency and importance. And you just think like, wow, like I am so insignificant to this entire film.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm not doing anything. Like I'm just, you know, I'm shoving math in these kids' faces. Right. Like what am I actually contributing to this film? Right.
You're helping them grow.
I am, but yeah, you're helping
as
them grow.
Educated citizens.
You're when you're working in a school like that, you're helping to maintain a bit of normalcy in a very chaotic, weird time in their lives. Yeah. Right. Because even though like they're in this magical world of filming a movie for Disney, they're still doing school. They're still learning their lessons. You know, they're doing everything that your kids are doing in school. And on top of that, learning their lines and rehearsing and practicing and filming. And so it is an important aspect, I think, because like I said, it provides that grounding.
Mm-hmm. No, that is true. I really do appreciate you talking about this. So was there not on a film idea?
Okay.
Not a film idea, but did you have a favorite scene in the movie? Like just as a viewer watching the movie.
Ooh.
As a viewer watching the movie, was there a scene that stood out to you?
Ooh, you know what? It's interesting because like having been there when they filmed and seeing the process, you definitely appreciate things differently on a differently, because you know, like a scene that's like, oh, that's kind of cool. You're like, wow, I remember how much work actually went into making that thing happen. And that is so.
And then there's work incredible. That you never even saw.
And then there's
2
a ton
years
of work
post, right?
2 years of post. You know, they actually started, a couple of months before I joined. And then there was that, you know, like there was that time in Newfoundland after I left too. So there was a lot that I didn't even get to see, but I think, I think for me, one of the scenes that I enjoyed the most was, seeing the pirate ship in the air flipping over and all the pirates falling off.
Nice.
Like I remember so clearly when that was being shot and how many takes and all of the rigorous process involved and all the tons of stunt riggers and stunt people involved in just making that a reality. And so it was really cool to see. It's really cool when, you know, there's so much effort put into something like that. And then you just see like what looks like this flawless execution on film of this thing happen. And then you remember like how much actually went into that. So I think all of those factors combined, I think that, during that final battle when the ship completely flips upside down, that was a big one for me that I really enjoyed.
Nice.
But just any moment when it was like the kids' first moment on screen too was also a pretty special moment. Just seeing that, hearing them speak their first line, seeing them, you know, walk into it and just So
how many times do you think you're going to end up watching this movie over the next few weeks?
Oh, probably a lot. Yeah, probably a lot, because there's been more than a few people that have asked to do watch parties, and honestly, like just even for my own enjoyment, I'll probably watch it with my roommate tomorrow, honestly, at this point.
So I need to get this episode out ASAP so that all your stories are out before you start telling other people too many of them, huh?
Oh, well, you know, this is only like part one, right? So
That's fair.
Yes, get this out, and honestly, to anyone listening, you know, I know not Disney's probably not everyone's thing, but I worked really hard and everyone worked really hard on this movie. And I would appreciate it if you took the time to fast forward to the credits and watch my name.
Screenshot that.
Screenshot it.
Jesse.
Tag me at Justimus Prime and I will reshare I will reshare it.
Let's get that trending, right?
Yeah.
Let's get that trending.
Let's get Jesse was here trending.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, dude. I really do. It was really a fun experience being able to go and see it on the big screen. Like that was something that's super cool because it does feel like it should have been on the big screen. But I know all the COVID contracts and whatnot made it a Disney original. But I think this would be a really good win for Disney Plus as original content because there hasn't been a lot of strong original content besides the TV shows.
No.
So I think this is a great win. A great win for their live action department for reimagining something without being shot by shot. So definitely worthwhile watching on Disney Plus because all you got to do is, sit on your sofa and click. So.
And by the time that this podcast is released, I will attempt to have the exact numerical moment that my name shows up in the credits, the exact timestamp, so that you can just if you want to fast forward through the rest of the credits and only watch the part that has me, that will be hopefully an option for you.
Maybe they should not just screenshot it, they should videotape it and show their excitement, like video record it.
They could. I mean, they have that. Yeah, absolutely.
Just like, oh my god, I know him.
Yeah. Everyone who screenshots and makes a reaction video of seeing me will be entered into a draw
for an autograph.
For an autograph. And if
this is not sanctioned by Cup of Red, this is only Decimus Prime. Whatever he says now is only his.
The winner will be flown out to Chilliwack to enjoy a basket of onion rings with me.
This is all on Decimus Prime. Cup of Red does not have anything to do with this. So contact Decimus Prime, not us. Not us.
Yeah. Read the fine print, people. There will be fine print.
Well, thanks again, Jesse. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you again for coming with me. It was great to be able to share that with someone. Yeah,
we had a lot of, it's not the place for this conversation, but interesting adventures in Vancouver today.
Oh, yes. Full of magic and mystery.
Oh, there will be mystery.
Well, that was a fun treat. I'm really, really, really happy that Jesse and you were able to sit down and do that special little segment.
Yeah, there was about 75% less onion rings in that talk.
Wow, that I am surprised about. I mean, there was no onion rings found in Vancouver?
No, but we did have other fried food. Let's bring it back to the food.
Nice.
We did have the lovely oyster mushroom calamari.
I did recommend that to Jesse.
And they also did this really good broccoli poppers, which was fantastic.
So he just really wanted to make sure that we ended this with me wanting to.
And then I had the sweet chili cauliflower bites. So good. Guess what's coming at you next week? Because we've only got a little bit more time.
We are actually going to talk about
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And we're going to talk about all their other entries in the MCU. Yeah, because we did a quick jam-packed marathon of preparation. So that's been a lot of things going on. The evolution, our radnesias of it. Do they still stand up? How do they fare for us? And then the new one. It's going to be exciting. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And remember, stay rad.